Everybody, my name is Sydney. I'm going to talk a little bit about my paper today. The topic that I chose to go over was the topic of alienation. And then the works that I chose were Kafka's Metamorphosis, Daydreams of a Drunk Woman, and then The Women's Swimming Pool. And also the one that I added, it's a TED Talk where she talks about parental alienation. So kind of ties them together a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and read my thesis because I feel like it helps me explain a little bit. But it says, when we take a step back and look at all of these works together, you can see that the three authors and speaker argue that the ongoing act of being alienated from those around you causes significantly deep issues and ultimately a feeling of disconnection from oneself. Through the use of literature, more specifically stream of consciousness within that literature, we can gain an overall sense of empathy for people and their experiences, which will in turn make them feel understood on a level that helps alleviate some of these feelings of alienation. So, again, the thought is not just alienation, but how the process of alienation can cause someone to feel alienated from themselves and cause kind of like a crisis when it comes to your sense of self. I think a good part that shows that crisis is in Daydreams of a Drunk Woman, when she's kind of battling back and forth with these two versions of herself, the one that she is and the one that she wishes she could be. And it's you can almost see the frustration that she has for having to be this version of herself that she is made to be because of constraints on her gender in society. But you can tell that that's not who she would look like, who she wants to be. So that causes a sense of self-alienation. And then I actually start out the paper with the Metamorphosis, because I feel like that's the most universal one in the set. In Metamorphosis, it's him experiencing alienation from society in general due to capitalism. But then in The Women's Swimming Pool and Daydreams of a Drunk Woman, we see in The Women's Swimming Pool, the little girl is experiencing alienation from society, the people in her world that don't have those same religious values as her, and also from her grandma, because you can tell that she's starting to question these values, and her grandma's not she lives by those values and wants her granddaughter to as well. So, and being alienated from her grandma and being alienated from society, eventually she gets to the swimming pool that she's so excited to get to, and she doesn't even go inside because she feels so conflicted. And then in the TED Talk, she talks about parental alienation, and I just feel like she does a really good job of showing how that feels for someone. And I mentioned this in my thesis, but that use of stream of consciousness in the writings, that really helps us to take a step back and hear, you're not only seeing it happen, but you're also hearing from the people that it's happening to and seeing how that affects them, which I think really highlights that sense of self-alienation. And yeah, so with the TED Talk, you can hear her speaking about this. We're not receiving stream of consciousness because it's not a writing, but she's telling you exactly how it felt. And she talks about feelings of despair and helplessness. And you can see that that's something that each of these people experienced, especially that sense of helplessness. Whenever society's telling you to be one thing and you, your mind's almost fighting against that, or in Gregor's case, his body completely transforms and just completely alienates him from his sense of being. So anyway, I hope that I'm able to explain this well when I get to my paper, but thank you guys for your time.